Led Zeppelin was more than just a band. It was the embodiment of power, mystique, and rebellion that came to define the genre of hard rock. Formed in 1968 by guitarist Jimmy Page, vocalist Robert Plant, bassist keyboardist John Paul Jones, and drummer John Bonham, Led Zeppelin crafted a sound that was thunderous, bluesy, and deeply innovative. Their music was raw and aggressive, yet intricately composed, laying the blueprint for what hard rock, and later heavy metal, would become. Though their time as a band was relatively short, disbanding in 1980 after Bonham's death, their influence still echoes through modern rock, metal, and beyond. Led Zeppelin arrived at a moment when rock music was at a crossroads. The blues-based rock and roll of the 1950s had evolved into the more experimental rock of the 1960s, but it was Led Zeppelin that solidified the transition into a heavier, more electrifying style. Drawing from American blues, British folk, and psychedelic rock, they created a sound that was bold, sensual, and explosive. Songs like Whole Lotta Love and Communication Breakdown set new standards with distorted guitars, thunderous drums, and Plant's soaring, almost primal vocals. These tracks weren't just songs. They were statements of intent. Jimmy Page's guitar playing was central to the band's identity. With his mastery of riffs, solos, and innovative use of effects, Page crafted some of the most iconic guitar lines in rock history. Tracks like Black Dog and Heartbreaker showcase not only his technical skill, but also his ability to write unforgettable hooks that could anchor entire songs. His use of alternate tunings and acoustic textures, evident on Over the Hills and Far Away and The Rain Song, expanded the possibilities of hard rock, blending delicacy with power. Today, guitarists in rock and metal still emulate Page's style, his influence as essential as the amplifiers they plug into. But Led Zeppelin's magic wasn't just in the guitar. John Bonham's drumming was a force of nature. With his brutal, unrelenting attack and precise timing, Bonham made drums as integral to the music as any melody. His work on When the Levee Breaks is legendary, and his drum solo on Moby Dick remains a touchstone for drummers everywhere. Bonham's influence is deeply felt in every rock and metal drummer who prioritizes power and groove, and his big sound revolutionized how drums were recorded in the studio. Robert Plant's vocal prowess was another essential piece of the puzzle. His wide vocal range, emotional intensity, and signature high-pitched wails gave Led Zeppelin their distinct character. Plant's voice could shift effortlessly from a soulful whisper to a full-throttle scream, perfectly complementing the band's dynamic shifts. Songs like Immigrant Song and Stairway to Heaven feature some of his most iconic performances, with his lyrics moving between mythology, mysticism, and personal introspection. Plant set the template for future generations of rock frontmen, from Freddie Mercury to Axl Rose to Chris Cornell. Beneath all this was the subtle genius of John Paul Jones. As the band's bassist and keyboardist, Jones provided the melodic and rhythmic glue that held everything together. His bass lines on tracks like Dazed and Confused were both intricate and propulsive, while his keyboard work on No Quarter added layers of atmosphere to the band's sound. Jones's ability to switch between bass, keys, and arrangements gave Led Zeppelin a musical depth that few of their contemporaries could match. Led Zeppelin also revolutionized live performances, setting the standard for rock concerts. Their shows were epic in both length and energy, with extended improvisations turning familiar songs into unpredictable journeys. The band's mystique was further fueled by their reluctance to release singles, preferring listeners to experience their albums in full. This album-oriented approach laid the foundation for how future rock bands would release and promote their music. Led Zeppelin 4, featuring songs like Stairway to Heaven and Rock and Roll, stands as one of the most influential albums in the history of rock. But their legacy goes beyond individual records. The band's ability to blend heavy riffs with blues roots, folk elements, and complex arrangements set a precedent for countless bands that followed. Black Sabbath, Deep Purple, and Aerosmith all borrowed from Zeppelin's playbook in the early days of heavy rock, while modern groups like Foo Fighters, Greta Van Fleet, and the Black Keys owe a clear debt to the band's sound and spirit. Beyond their technical and musical achievements, Led Zeppelin embodied a larger-than-life ethos that became synonymous with the rock star lifestyle. Stories of excess, mysticism, and mystery surrounded the band, building an aura that continues to captivate fans. But at the core of it all was the music, a sound that was larger than life, yet intimate, brutal, yet beautiful. Their music wasn't just heard, it was felt, resonating with audiences on a deeply emotional level. Even after decades, Led Zeppelin's influence remains undeniable. Their ability to channel raw power while pushing the boundaries of what rock music could be still inspires new generations of musicians. Whether through blistering guitar riffs, thundering drums, soaring vocals, or haunting melodies, Led Zeppelin defined what it means to play hard rock with passion and precision. In many ways, Led Zeppelin was the birth of the beast, the band that gave rock its teeth, its swagger, and its soul. And though the beast may have changed its form over the years, it continues to roam the musical landscape, ensuring that Led Zeppelin's legacy remains not just intact, but eternal.